I've got a couple of big projects in the works, and so I thought I'd update you all on a few Kickstarter reviews I did a couple years ago, and what the products actually look like now that they've come out. Starting with the ultra-famous Pixels LED dice. Now, I was not given this die by Pixels. This is not a sponsored video. A buddy actually ordered these for everybody at our gaming table because he's a real OG. Now, let's show you what comes with the box. First, the user manual. It's got a lot of important information on how to set up your die. It has a charging cable, which I have taken out because I wanted to charge this and make sure it was usable for the video, and a little pill box where you store and charge your die. When you open it up, the die will glow a rainbow of colors to let you know that it has batteries and is on and working, and obviously the die is cool as beans. It is absolutely gorgeous, super shiny. The colors are so vibrant for something so small. It's a kind of black core with a clear shell coated in rainbow mica powder around the outside, and it's gorgeous. You can see how bright the light is as it is in my gloved hand here. I tried to do that so you could see the light a little bit more easily, and as you roll, it changes the color of the LEDs depending on what you roll. I have customized color setup, but we'll get to that in a minute. I want to show it off a little bit more so you know exactly what we're looking at here, and you can kind of start to form your own opinions before I tell you what I think.
Okay, I'm rolling around like a lot of crits, so that's cool.
You can see I've put in logic in my die to have a synthy blue and pink color when it rolls any other number except the D20 and the 1. On the D20 it's a rainbow, and on the 1 it's a red color.
And okay, that's a lot of crits.
The user manual is short and easy to follow. I had zero problem setting up my die, although it is a bit silly, but who doesn't like that? One thing I worried about when I tested it originally was that the app would not be easy to use, but it is marvelous. It is super smooth, super fast, and it does everything that I would want it to do for this. You can see on the left there, as I'm turning the die, it actually recognizes which face the die lands on. It's got a display for showing all the rolls that you've done, and it can track the averages. It's got a lot of features that I'm not going to get into, but they're fantastic. It's also extremely responsive. You can roll the dice very rapidly and be able to read all of the different numbers. The only thing that you do have to wait is for a number to pop up before you roll again. Otherwise, it might not read that second roll. The inside is fantastic. As you're customizing your die, you can see the little animated die there will change colors, mimicking what it's going to be in your hand. I found that feature to be extremely pleasant. There's so many different animations that you can choose from. It's wonderful. The app is fantastic and works extremely well, and it's super quick. You can also set it to say certain things through your phone when you roll certain numbers.
Hell yeah. Subscribe, please.
You can create multiple profiles, and they're as easy to swap over as hitting a button, and just as quick. And it also works with a lot of web-based apps and extensions. When I reviewed it before, I tested its functionality on Roll20. That still exists as a Chrome extension. They also have a cool connectivity feature with D&D Beyond, that website that gets a little worse every single day and every single decision that Wizards of the Coast decides to make, but that's neither here nor there. It seems to work really well from what I've seen and heard. You can even roll multiple dice at once, though they do admit that there is some glitchiness that goes on with that, but they're working on a fix right now. They even have connectivity with Foundry Virtual Tabletop, which I know a lot of people are very excited about, which I think is really cool. I was really surprised at how many different styles of dice they offer on their website, which, by the way, I could click that button on their front page all day. They have so many different options that it's kind of hard to decide which one. So I'm going to talk about what my experience is with this Midnight Galaxy one. It reminds me a lot of those old Game Boy Color cases where you could see through and see the technology inside. You could see the black shell and the cap that goes on the D20, and the clear outer crystallized shell with the rainbow mica powder. This is kind of a blessing and a curse because you can see the tiny bubbles inside from the maker process, which will annoy some people, and I'm sure that they're upset that they get bubbles like that in the first place. And you can see some leftover resin on the one's place where they had to cut off what looks to be like this is a sprue mold for making all of these things. There's no surface issues with it, so I'm not worried about it at all, and you can see the wireless charging cable on the one's place there, which I think is really cool. I think the build quality is fantastic, and I have no complaints.
Hell yeah. Subscribe, please.
Okay, I'm trying to do something here.
I only have two problems with this die, and they are somewhat large, and I'm sure you've noticed it as you've been watching the video. It's pretty hard to read. Because the lights are so bright and vibrant, it makes it really difficult to see what number is on top. You kind of get used to it, but even then, it becomes difficult to tell the difference between like the 10 and the 19. It's just hard to read. And that's true whether it's in daylight or it's at night. That doesn't really change things. And also, people always say like, oh, I'd like to play a game at night. You're not going to do that. You're not going to play a game in full darkness because it's really hard to read your pen and paper stuff. And even then, the lights are even more bright and vibrant and more difficult to read. And that leads into the second problem, which is you basically have to sit there and wait for the number to appear without the light so that you can read it more easily. And that just makes the game take a little bit longer. This only seems to be an issue on the Midnight Galaxy and the D20 Clear sets. The Aurora Sky, Hematite Gray, and Onyx Black D20 sets don't seem to have this issue. You can read those pretty easily in person, at least from my experience. I would not even bother with the D20 clear one. You just won't be able to read it. It'll just be a shiny rock in your hand. And the Galaxy you can read, so if you really like that color and it's worth it for you, then go for it. Because it is a gorgeous die, and I don't mean to complain about it because my friend got me this and I'm really appreciative. We all love it. It is a fun die. It's a cool thing, but it's definitely niche. I like to use it as my advantage D20, the second die that I roll. That way I'm not rolling it too often, but it is fun to roll, and we all want to do that because it looks really cool. So I hope you enjoyed taking a look at this product now that it is fully out. I could easily recommend it, though I will have a few strings attached. By the way, Dan, make sure that you're subscribed. I can see on your screen you're not, just figured I'd remind you, and I hope y'all have a fantastic day.